Hello YouTube. Today I have here a 2009 Cadillac CTS, and the problem I'll be diagnosing today is simply that the door does not open from the outside. Obviously in the video I'll show you how I took out the door panel, how I took out the handle. I'll show everything. Just for the sake of starting off the video, I'll like to go over a couple of reasons why this actuator or latch actually goes bad. So basically, you try to open the door from outside, it doesn't open. You have this keyhole in here. If you use a key on it, it still works, it will open. And additionally, the door will open from the inside once you pull the lever on that door panel right there. With the wireless key, as long as you walk up to the car, it's supposed to unlock it automatically. You pull the lever, it detects that the key is around, it's in your pocket, and then it unlocks. So the first and most common thing that goes wrong is this actuator. What this actuator does is that it simply unlocks your car. It's linked to this hook right here. So your lock hook's on here, and then once it detects the key, it's supposed to electronically unlock and let go of the door and open. So since the actuator is the most common problem, the second most common problem that may cause your door not to unlock is these micro switches right here. So what this does is, as you pull the handle, both these tiny micro switches get pressed. As they get pressed, the antenna on here detects if the key is close by. If all is good, the key is close by, and these micro switches get pressed, the actuator opens the door. If these micro switches go bad, you're pulling the handle, it replicates that you're pushing these two micro switches, but if the micro switches don't connect, the signal is never going to reach the actuator and will never unlock the door. Or the third reason could be your wiring harness itself going inside the car is bad. And now I'll get started and show you guys how to take off the door panel and how to diagnose if your micro switch itself is bad or your actuator is bad. Once the door panel is loose, the wiring harness of the door slides out on its own. So now you have to take out this metal wire which attaches to the inside handle. This metal wire comes out kind of easily. You just squeeze on the gray tabs with some needle nose pliers, and those gray tabs are right inside this black tab, as you guys can see. Now we take out the weather shield. There are two wiring harnesses inside. This is one of them. The other one is kind of a little more inside. Now we take off this black tab. Underneath this black tab is one of the two T25 sized bolts that bolts in the outside door assembly. So I'll start taking out the first bolt. And here we have it, the T25 bolt. After this T25 bolt is out, you can simply remove this piece right here. Sorry, it goes in like this. You can easily remove this piece off. And after this piece is out, after playing around with it a little more, you push this inside. With this pushed inside, you pull this handle towards you. 2 steps. And then the gaskets will go out of place. But the handle should come out. Looking under here, I unclipped this, as you guys know. I unclipped this. And after pulling the handle that way, I was able to get it out. Handle out, I can easily access this bolt. So now I've got everything removed, and this assembly is out in my hand. The best way to separate these two things is that once both of them are kind of loose, you're holding this piece and you turn this 90-degree angle. Once you turn this a 90-degree angle, this comes off easily. And now this thing is going to be stuck inside. To get this thing off, there is a metal line. I'll show you this. Basically, this metal line thing is holding it in place. So you literally unhook it while you're inside here, and this thing comes off. And then the last thing is this wire is hooked on with a plastic hook on the inside. You have to feel it. I can't really show it to you. Maybe I can show it from this side. Yep, so that's the plastic hook that this wire is hooked onto. So this wire comes off, this hook comes off, these two screws come off, and this handle comes off of this, and then the handle is free. We take out the actual actuator by loosening these two bolts right here. So these are and that's pretty much it. Well, I take out the second bolt. As you guys can see, it's actually loosening and coming off. Hopefully it doesn't fall to the bottom of the ground. Okay, wait. Let's see here. And then this is the final wiring harness holding everything in place. This is the only thing holding the actuator in place now, just this tiny wiring connector. There's a flathead in there. I've properly loosened it. Actually, nicely done. Here we have it, the old actuator. So now getting to the next step, we take out the micro switches out of the plastic door handle assembly. This is actually one of the easiest steps ever because there's just two tiny tabs. You squeeze them together and the micro switches slide right out. Kind of foolproof method of checking your micro switches is that I actually ended up cutting off the cables off the micro switches because I thought that would be the best way of diagnosing them. As you guys can see, the gray and green one are the ones that make a circuit, and the red and blue one are the ones that make a circuit. So let's say I grab white and green. So right here are the cut off wires. Again, this is not the best way to do it, but it gets the job done. So the gray and green, let's say I touch them together. As you can see, that's the motor I have it removed. So every time I touch them, the motor works and unlocks the door. So the actuator works. In this case, just my switch, this tiny switch is bad. As I press down on those two wires at a time, what I'm doing is I'm replicating this switch press. And now that I know for sure that my micro switches are bad, I decided to buy new micro switches, but you have to buy the whole plastic door assembly with the micro switches. And I will be taking out the keyhole thing, whatever you call this. So here we take it out. This clip holds it in place. Once the clip is out, the keyhole comes out easily. There we go. And I'll put it in the new one. So what you have to do is, this plastic piece needs to be inside the door. This piece and the hook need to be inside the door before you start to install it. And a good way to do it is actually that you unbolt the actuator. So once the actuator's out, you have a lot more wiggle room with this metal rod. And alright, as you guys can see, getting this hook inside can be very tricky. The only kind of angle I found is you have to put the key in, and while having the key turned the outside way, now you're kind of closer to the hook. So before I lose the hook again, there you guys might be able to see it. So I almost have it on this hook, and now I'll follow through with it. And there we go. Now I'll pull out my key. That was so tricky. So obviously the key came out of my key fob. So here I have one of the T25 bolts tightened on the left, and on the right side I'll be sliding in the gasket on. So this is kind of how it slides on, pretty easy. And now it's snug in its place. And now we can put in the metal piece on. So we hold the metal piece in place while you install the second T25 bolt from the other side, from this hole right here. If you don't hold it in place, it might not get caught in the grooves properly, which can later cause an issue. So after getting both of these bolts tightened up, I have my actuator in. It's kind of hard to show you guys, but there it is. The pin is in place. That's how it attaches to the actuator. And now, simple as that, we're gonna start connecting the connectors, So, conveniently enough, these two right here are supposed to be connected together. And this gets connected to the door handle antenna. And after all of that, getting to the last part, the installation of the handle. So here I have installed it to the old plastic harness. So all you do is you put in this left side first. The left side with the antenna, it slides in first, as I'll show you. After pushing in the silver handle, what we have to do is we have to reach our hand inside and push down this black tab. The black tab is literally located right underneath here. It's the same setup. So after the handle's fully in, we just push down on the black tab, and then the handle gets locked. Just how it's locked on this mechanism, but I'll get it out now. So here we go with the handle. First the antenna goes in, then this piece, which is supposed to slide in here. But we keep this a little bit forward and try to push this in. And now we push this forward, and now push it again. Push this handle in again. There we go. And just a tiny slam. So it's in. It's stuck now, okay? But not to worry, but as I mentioned earlier, we need to push on the black tab from the inside here. Right up there. While holding the handle from the outside. So, try to do this now. And finally, getting to the final stage of the video. After all the diagnosing and repairs, I have the key close to me. Here's the key, and I pull on the handle, and it opens. Now that the micro switches work, they activate the actuator and detect the key and unlock the door successfully. So thank you for your time, guys. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you liked the video. Cheers.